the production cut from Saudi Arabia, I mentioned this yesterday, right? So they're extending this oil production cut all the way through the end of the year. That's going to keep prices higher at the pump. And they said that now the international benchmark, Brent crude was up 96 cents Tuesday morning following the news, hitting nearly $90 per barrel. It was the cut of 1 million barrels per day. Now, remember, this was announced back in July, and it was extended into fall. And I told you it was going to be extended again. And of course, it's going to be extended all the way through December. That's what Riyadh announced Tuesday. Total production around 9 million barrels per day for the final 3 months of 2023. Now, these are separate from the broader, the production schedule for OPEC. OPEC says that they're not going to make any further cuts for the remainder of the year, but Saudi Arabia is the single largest producer within OPEC of oil. So that's going to affect, obviously, it's going to affect us. It's going to make it harder to fill up your tank. It's going to make it, more expensive. And it's still hot outside. And then we're going to go into winter. All of this is designed, and the reason why, so take this, first off, set that up. You got that. Set that on the table. Now let me hit you with this. So now you have the Biden administration that's canceling all oil and gas leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Now, this was something that the previous administration was trying to undo. They were trying to get it to where we could be a little bit more energy independent and be able to go after all of our resources. And I want to add too, again, there's a difference between environmentalism and conservationists. Environmentalists it's a cult. It's a religion full of stupid people. I'm just going to be incredibly frank about it. They are the dumbest people on God's green earth. And just like you have people like Eric Adams in New York who profess this fake compassion for people who enter the country illegally and call where they live sanctuary cities, so too is it the same with environmentalists. They profess this love for Mother Earth and nature, but they do the stupidest things that actually do more harm. Like, it was literally environmentalists who decided we don't want any completely fail-safe. We don't want any super safe pipelines transporting crude all the way under the earth, avoiding all the aquifers, going down to Houston. We don't want that. We want it to go on rail, using more coal to transport it. Environmentalists are the people who are like, we don't want clean extraction of gas or oil. We want to completely depend on land stripping of rare earth elements, creating the toxic byproducts that kill entire villages in China. We like that. That's what environmentalists do. Conservationists are like, how are we able to extract these resources while leaving the land pristine? I have friends who work that I went to high school with, who work in oil and gas, and they were like the super sciencey engineer. Like, one of my friends who works in oil and gas now, literally that's one of the problems that that's what they do. They're an engineer, and they have to figure out what is the most efficient, affordable, and less intrusive way to extract resources from the ground. That's what they figure out, because they want to make sure that there's stuff left. They want to preserve to make sure there's stuff left. This is the philosophy that farmers who are, the original conservationists, farmers and ranchers have, right? You take care of the land because the land takes care of you. It's a symbiotic relationship. Environmentalists don't look at it like that. That's how conservationists look at it. And so going to this, the way that this has always been approached is, how can we extract these resources in the least intrusive way possible and make it to where, again, you take care of the land takes care of you. That's the philosophy. And this is what previously, under the last administration, we were exploring. So now the Biden administration announced yesterday they're going to prohibit drilling in 13 million acres in the National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska, canceling all leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Now they say these are maximum protections. But here's what's interesting. Biden approved an $8 billion oil drilling project in the same vicinity this year. And of course, That's just kind of interesting if you look in the relationship with that. I just, I got to say, I just think I do think it's interesting. He greenlit that. He greenlit that project. And that's in the North Slope, Alaska's North Slope. It's on 3 sites. ConocoPhillips, that was announced. That was something that they did this spring, that they announced this spring. And so, but they're not, we don't have any, there's no commitment to any expansion or improvement of any refineries. And we still, I mean, if you really want to talk about Green New Deal, there's still no effort to, at all whatsoever, fast track any of the permitting for mines for rare earth elements. I mean, I think they're just still surveying things. It's crazy. And that takes, I think, anywhere from, we talked to experts about that before, anywhere from like 8 to 9 years to get that off the ground. So here you have the administration that's canceling all 13 million acres, canceling all of this. And that's going to keep prices high. We're not going to be adding anything to the world market. We're also not going to be adding as becoming a net exporter as we were under the previous administration. All of this is designed to keep you broke and unable to fill your gas tank up, so you stop relying on oil and gas and you get rid of your car. That's what all of this is about. They want you to migrate over to super expensive electric vehicles. Now, I've told you before, I love gadgets. If people weren't preaching to me about EVs, I'd probably have one. But I get so rebellious when people try to condition behavior through the marketplace to get you to act in a way that they would like, that I want to act opposite to that. So I went and I literally bought the biggest blanking gas guzzler I could get that gets like 0.2 miles to the gallon. I'm not kidding you. Like it is egregiously offensive and I love it. Oh my gosh. Love gas and oil. Yeah. But the whole point is that this is all about conditioning you. It's behavioral conditioning through the marketplace. And that's not a free market. Lorraine sends this story and check this out. So, in Florida, after the hurricane came through, and this happened after Ian too, because there was a fire that started in a parking garage. It was from an EV. The Palm Harbor Fire Department, they were telling everybody who had EVs, if that came into contact with salt water, to park away from the structure or other vehicles, because they said, look, there are EVs that are catching on fire. And the days and weeks after the storm, I just want to highlight that again, days and weeks after the storm. They said, Carfax, they had their spokesperson, they said, y'all need to understand the fire risk doesn't just go away when your vehicle dries out. They said the salt water that's flooding can get into the battery and dry there. And once it dries, it creates what federal safety officials call bridges between cells, which leads to fires. And those fires can come anytime from days to a week later. And once an EV catches on fire, it's very difficult to put it out. So I'm just saying. So they want everybody to get into these EVs and that are super expensive. The batteries cost as much as the vehicle to replace. Most people can't afford them thanks to Biden inflation. So, but gas and oil are plentiful and they replenish. And it's affordable energy. In a way, this is class warfare. I mean, not in a way, it is. I mean, it is class warfare. It's class warfare against people who can't go out and buy EVs. And also, can I just say, they're ugly as sin. They're ugly. They're so ugly. I'm sorry if you have one. I'm not judging you. And I say this as a gadget lover. That's why I'm like, if people weren't so preachy about these things, it's like the people who drive EVs are similar to the people who are keto or the people who go to Burning Man. They all tell you about it. Yes, I was at Burning, and they never shut up about it. Yes, I'm keto. Oh no, I was at Burning Man. I drive an EV. They just nonstop. Or CrossFitters. I'm sorry, CrossFitters, but you do that. All my friends who CrossFit don't shut up about it. So that's the truth of the matter. So anyway, that's what this whole push is. The whole push is this.